Today, my guest is Jack Miller, president of Gelt Financial, longtime real estate investor and private credit expert with over 35 years of experience. Jack, thank you so much for joining us today.
Megan, my pleasure. I'm excited to be here with you and your audience today.
Yes,
Super excited. Not excited, super excited.
super. I love the enthusiasm, Jack. All right, let's jump right into it. Why don't you just tell us a bit about your background and your personal and professional journey?
I'm 63. I started in the real estate and mortgage and credit business when I was around 18 or 19. So really, it's the only thing I've done. I started Gelt Financial 1989. So we're approximately 36 years old. We're a provider of private non-bank financing for real estate investors and owners of businesses. And I love it. I'm in love with my profession. I find each day invigorating, exciting. I love the change, the challenge. I love the change. I love helping people. I'm all in.
That's amazing to hear. Why don't you just, you said you're all in, it's like your favorite thing, you love your business. What would you say? I know it's hard to pinpoint, but what's like your favorite thing about this industry or your business?
There's so many favorite things, but it's the weirdest thing. We're a non-bank lender and we're more expensive than a bank's. We're a lot more expensive than a bank's. But our borrowers are so grateful to come to us. So the feedback we get from them when we provide them the capital that their banks won't provide them for different reasons. And we charge them more than the banks. We're not, saying, oh, we're doing it for free. We're charging a premium. But it's so wonderful to hear the feedback from our borrowers consistently over 30 something years. Almost every day of the week, if not every day, every other day, I'm hearing a thank you, how you changed my life, how you helped us, how you elevated us when no one wanted to.
Mm.
All positive things. And, it's just so invigorating to hear. It really is.
Yeah, the feedback. Yeah, I bet.
Tremendous.
Yeah, of course. And on that, I know as an entrepreneur, it can be hard getting started. And you said that Gelt was kind of created in the 80s. Is that correct?
That's correct. 1989.
And you said something interesting that you guys are more expensive than banks. So my question is, was it kind of hard to get the ball rolling, new foot in the door, getting clients acquiring, harder because you didn't have testimonials at that point, I'm assuming. So
No,
was it kind
well,
of hard to get the ball rolling with that?
not only did we start before the internet, there was no internet. I remember when the fax machine first came out, which most people don't even use. Fax machines are sort of extinct at this point. It was a game changer. No, it was different. Look, it's always different. Times are always changing. When I started, when I was 18 or 19, rates were like 15%. Then they dropped. So each economic cycle brings new challenges. I kind of embrace the challenges and look at it as a positive, not a negative. So, no, it wasn't particularly hard. It wasn't easy. Look, every day is not easy. Every day is hard. Life is hard. But I embraced it and I found it fun, to be candid with you.
That's amazing, Jack. And I love how you started so young, 18, 19. That's incredible passion and drive. Based on your education, how did you kind of learn the ropes? Did you go to college? Did you find out about this stuff in high school? Did you take an untraditional route? How were the early days like?
They were tough. I happen to be dyslexic. So going to and now dyslexia is sort of common. When I was growing up, they used to call it brain damaged. In
Oh
fact, I
my.
had something from the Philadelphia school district telling my parents I was brain damaged. So going to college was not an option for me. You have to learn it one step at a time. One day at a time. You learn, you read, you absorb, you talk to people, and that's how I did it, just one step at a time.
Hmm.
And I really focused on becoming the master of my profession. For me, even when times were tough, I didn't look at it as a plan B. I just had to do it. And especially when I got married and had three sons, I just had to make it a success. There was no other option. So I had to pivot a little bit here and there, but I really focused on really mastering the craft and honing in on my ability and skills and the needs of the borrowers. And it's constantly changing.
Yeah. So what was a really big challenge with that? Because you said there was no plan B. So this was straightforward. This was the plan. But of course, you probably ran into some really tough obstacles. Are there any you can walk us
Oh,
through?
There's so many of them. It's hard. Every day was an obstacle. And because the economy's changing and the landscape's always changing, the obstacles are always changing and they keep coming at you. And I learned it's not about falling down. We all fall down. We all get punched in the face or beaten up or whatever it is. It's about the rebound. It's how fast you can rebound after something bad happens. Where
Mhm.
a lot of people, they sit on the sofa and cry. I do that too, but I was just able to rebound a little quicker than I think a lot of other people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. So, because you've worked through multiple market cycles, is that kind of how you like that's shaped how you would approach deals today is just get up and go do it, get your rebound on, like keep going?
What's the choice?
Yeah.
Feeling sorry for yourself? Crying? Again, we all get punched in the face. Sometimes they're self-inflicted wounds and sometimes they're not. But
Mhm.
even if they're not, what's the choice? How long are you going to wallow in self-pity for? And believe me, I'm a wallower. I could sit on the sofa and cry for a long time or beat myself for a long time. But, ultimately, I chose to accept whatever happened and to move on.
Yeah. What else can you do, right? That's
Well, it sounds easy. It's very hard emotionally to do it. A lot of people can't do that. And
Mhm.
I was lucky for whatever reason. It's in my DNA, or I don't know how I was able to do it, but I was able to do that.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Jack. Um, so kind of walk me through just a typical average day. I know it probably looks different day to day, but kind of walk us through that. How does that look? Like with clients, with phone calls, day-to-day
Well,
office?
I keep very busy,
Mhm.
so my days start early and they go late and they're action packed.
Mhm.
We're approving new loans, constantly approving new financing requests, and the reality is we're not approving some financing requests.
Mhm.
So part of my day is spent on that. Part of my day is spent on how are we getting the requests, whether it be referral sources or marketing. We have a sales team. I'm speaking to our sales origination group, our VP of revenue and sales, to how are we increasing sales? What are we doing that?
Mhm.
We're also buying real estate. We're evaluating deals. I'm talking to our analysts. We're managing and leasing out real estate. So I'm consistently what's going on with leasing, dealing with new tenants and, negotiating deals, lease renewals, capital improvements, all kinds of stuff as well. We have a lot of partners, couple hundred partners. So there's constant communication with our partners on existing deals, new
Mhm.
deals. We have an accounting department. We have all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's nonstop. And this is only the professional part of my day. I spend a lot of my day on what I call nonprofit work through our foundation. And that's also takes on another dimension. But I literally go from probably 6 in the morning till 11, 12 at night all the time.
Wow.
It's
That
just a lot happening and it's not always the same. It's always different stuff going on because you have to look for new, you have to pivot. We're always pivoting.
But you love what you do, Jack, right?
I was very lucky. I was born with a love of what I do. So it's really, I'm not saying every day is fantastic. Of course,
Mhm.
there's problems and some days, you don't want to do it, but 99% of the time I really like it. I really do. It's challenging. It's
Yeah.
it's it's exciting. You can mold something. I look at it as like I'm an artist or as I'm a concert pianist, even though I can't play the piano, but I can create something out
Yeah.
of nothing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that to me is very exciting.
Yeah, I find that exciting as well. We definitely have similar mindsets on that for sure. I love how you mentioned your charitable foundation. I totally wanted to ask about that and kind of what inspired that kind of side of your work.
I'm not sure what inspired it. I'd love to, tell you some crazy story, but it's a combination of religious beliefs and just all kinds of things. But I'm a firm believer we're all here for a purpose. You're here for a purpose. I'm here. Our purposes may be different. And I need to live out my life to help other people. So everything I'm doing is really for the betterment of other people. Self understood, I get some benefits along the way. I get to live in a house, I get to eat, I get to stay in an air conditioned building and go on whatever. But I'm a big believer in helping other people and helping one's community. And the majority of my life is spent doing that. And the truth is, I work so I can do that, whether it be on suicide prevention or mental illness or just all kinds of things that we're involved with. Advocacy for criminal justice system. There's a bunch of things that we're involved with.
Yeah, that's really great to hear, driving an impact, driving change. I think that's incredible work.
Well, again, my belief is we're all here for a purpose, and
Right.
I need to fill out my purpose. I don't believe that I have any innate talents. I believe that any talents I have were given to me by our Creator, God, whatever your religious belief is, was given to me. And it's my obligation to use those talents out. The same thing, too, with any success. I don't believe I really earn the success. I believe that I'm the vessel for the success, the vessel for whatever money I make, and I have to distribute that in the best way that I know how.
I really appreciate that mindset. That's a fantastic insight. Wow, thank you. I do kind of want to pivot a little back to the company and kind of focus future-esque here. I want to ask what are the biggest changes you're seeing in commercial real estate finance world right now, lending world? Are we seeing any big changes out here?
You're always seeing changes. It has to do with the economy. It has self-understood that's tied to interest rate, but ultimately it's the same thing. People need money for, in our segment of the business anyway, people are coming to us because they don't want to go to a bank or they can't go to a bank. They're coming to us to either make money with our capital or get themselves out of a problem. And the truth is, well, a lot's changed, certainly with AI and, everything changes. Essentially, it's the same. People have a need. We have to fill that need.
Yeah.
Everything in between is sort of commentary, but
Mhm.
we're filling needs of people with our capital. We're lending them capital, renting them capital, however you want to say it. And in our case, they're either making money with our capital or they're getting out of a problem. Conversely, we have a lot of partners. So our partners are investing capital with us to make a return on it. So
Yeah.
it's always changing, but it's always kind of the same.
Yeah.
I joke around, and this is off color. I apologize. We're probably in the second oldest profession. It's been going money lenders. It's been going on forever. So I'm assuming it's going to keep going on.
I assume so too. Totally. Let's totally talk about that topic of AI because,
Yeah,
we've had discussions with lending companies, real estate brokers, all this great stuff. We're seeing AI emerging. We're seeing it being implemented into these companies. My question for you is, are you looking for anything like that? Is Gelt doing something like that? Or also, where do you see that just in the industry wide view as well?
absolutely. Gelt is using AI now in a chat bot on our website. Anyone's welcome to go to geltfinancial.com and test it out. And absolutely, and we're going to keep expanding it. We're constantly looking for other ways. You have to keep up with technology.
Yeah.
What do they say in life? The only thing you can be sure of is change. You might as well accept it. So absolutely, we're looking at it and we're experimenting with it in a lot of different areas. I think, at least from my perspective, in what we do, everyone says use AI, use AI, use AI. But then when you say, okay, how do I use AI? It's not as developed yet as it will be in a year or two.
Yeah.
So for us, the only thing we're using it for actively now with customer interface is a chatbot on our website.
I
But
see.
that'll change. We'll keep using it. Whatever
Mhm.
technology and is out there, we'll use. There's no question about that.
We like to say it's AI or be left behind, and that seems like it's kind of that's the consensus at this point. A lot of companies we've noticed too, with all everyone I've just talked to, like company heads, is even some people have, like you said, like the fancy chat box or even more complicated tools, but they either have them and they don't use them correctly, or they don't have them at all. It's like, it's just so up in the air right now.
It's new. They'll get them. They'll get them. I'm old enough to remember when people didn't have websites. When getting a website was a big deal. And now, so in another couple of years, people will use AI. They'll embrace AI. They'll use robotics. They'll embrace robotics. It'll take time, but they'll absolutely do it. They're not going to have a choice. There's no
Yeah.
choice.
You just like, and probably when you said the internet came out, people were like, what is this? We don't we don't need this. And now we're talking on a screen.
Well, podcasting is a love of mine. So you're in the best position. You're using the internet. You can use AI. You can use all kinds of stuff to do what you're doing.
Oh yeah, huge on technology. I mean, the company we work for is AI implementation. Huge niche of mine. Love that stuff. I could talk about it forever. Love the technology. Super savvy with that. So yeah, that's where I geek out
You
on.
know, if anyone listens to this, let me know, reach out to me and tell me how we can practically use AI.
Yeah,
I'm looking to improve efficiencies, drive down costs, serve more people, and technology, AI is a way to do it. And I'm looking for concrete, substantive ways to do it.
I totally agree. I think companies are looking, people, this is a great business opportunity. People who are seizing it early are really taking off. I mean, I can't go to any website now ever without some sort of like AI companion on the right side. Like you said, like a chat box, or if it's like even Microsoft has implemented Copilot and ChatGPT came out with a new agent that can actually like screenshot for you. It's
Yeah,
insane,
look, I'm a Copilot user.
right?
I'm a ChatGPT user, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like why people, when it came out, it seemed very scary. People seemed scared. They seemed hesitant to use it and almost like shamed if you were, oh, you're using chat, da da da. Now it seems very widely accepted. It seems as businesses are realizing it needs to be adapted or they're going to be left behind because it is being implemented at this fast pace and they're keeping up faster and then people who don't use it are being left in the dust.
No question about it.
No question at all. Yeah, well, I could talk about that forever. But Jack, thank you so much. And do you have any last words or advice? Anyone maybe trying to break into this industry? Any last words?
I would encourage anyone trying to break into the industry. It's been fantastic for me. I've been more successful than my wildest dreams. So I would absolutely encourage anyone to do it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your insights, and I had a great time talking today, Jack.
Thanks, Megan. My pleasure. And I'm looking forward to watching you in the AI world.
Thank you.